Bull shark attack. 12 minutes to not bleed out. That's what I lived. 12 minutes between life and death. 12 minutes where every heartbeat pumped more blood into the sea. 12 minutes to fight jaws built to kill. And 12 minutes to somehow keep breathing when everything in me wanted to let go. The ocean looked harmless that morning. Calm. Almost a calm. The kind of stillness that feels like it's hiding something, holding its breath. The sun was only beginning to rise, spilling light across the water like melted gold. I slipped in, trusting the sea the way I always had, never imagining it was about to betray me. I swam steady, arms pulling through cool water, the rhythm soothing, almost hypnotic. For a moment, I thought about my wife on the beach, watching our little boy laugh and chase the tide. It felt safe, familiar, but safety is an illusion, and illusions shatter fast. It hit me like an explosion from below. 1 second I was gliding, the next my right leg was crushed in a vice of teeth and power I cannot describe. It wasn't a bite, it was destruction, muscle torn, bone grinding, nerves screaming fire. The shock stole my breath. The pain ripped a scream from my chest, but underwater it came out as bubbles, weak and useless, vanishing before anyone could hear. Warmth poured out of me, fast and unstoppable. My blood. A river surging into the sea. I watched it bloom red around me, clouding the water like smoke in glass. Beautiful in a way that terrified me. And in that moment I knew. The clock had started. 12 minutes, maybe less, before blood loss claimed me. I fought for the surface, lungs burning, chest tight. When I broke through, the air hit me like fire, and I gasped so hard it hurt. My hands clamped over my leg, slipping on shredded flesh, blood pulsing hot through my fingers. Pointless, but I pressed anyway. Because pressing meant focus. Focus meant survival. And survival meant maybe I'd see my boy's face again. I turned toward the shore, close enough to see, too far to reach. My arms dragged me forward, heavy, weak, already. My right leg was gone in all but name, dead weight pulling me down. Every stroke shook me closer to collapse. And then, I felt it. The water shifted beneath me, pressure changing, a shadow circling. The bull shark wasn't finished. They never are. They strike, retreat, circle back, strike again. And when they do, it's worse than before. I caught a glimpse dark shape below, white head, eyes black as stone. It surged up, jaws snapping so close to my ribs. I felt the rush of water whip against me. The impact spun me under, salt flooding my mouth, my nose, burning down my throat. I lost all sense of direction. Up, down, light, dark, it all blended. My chest screamed, my body begged to inhale, but instinct clawed me upward. My head broke the surface, air tearing into my lungs like fire. And that's when it came out. My scream, not words, just raw sound, animal and desperate. A sound I didn't know I could make. On the beach, she heard me. My wife turned, froze, then screamed my name. People gathered, voices rising, some pointing, some shouting, one man dragging a kayak toward the waves. But distance is cruel. Help was coming, but too slow. The shark brushed my ruined leg, its sandpaper skin ripping what little flesh remained. Pain flared so bright, my vision flashed white. Darkness crept at the edges. My chest heaved. My heart pounded too weak, too fast. I almost gave in. Almost let the sea take me. But then, his face, my boy, his laugh, his small hand reaching for mine. That memory cut through the darkness, sharper than teeth. Rage boiled inside me, stronger than fear, hotter than pain. I clenched my fists, not because fists could hurt a shark, but because fists meant fight, and fight meant alive. The water erupted again. Jaws clamped down deeper, crushing, dragging me under. Pain beyond pain, lightning ripping through me, body convulsing. This felt like the end. But rage pushed back. My fists pounded its snout. My fingers clawed at its eyes. Again, again. Each strike screamed the same word inside me. No. Miracle. Chance. Or fury. The jaws loosened. The weight twisted away, vanishing into the red haze. I burst upward, gasping, coughing, choking. My arms barely moved. Blood poured freely, staining the water darker, wider. But I was alive. For now. Then I saw it. The kayak. 2 men paddling hard, faces pale when they saw the crimson water around me. They shouted, "Hold on. Stay with us." Their voices cracked with fear, but they didn't stop. They reached me, hands grabbing my arms, pulling me over the side. My body collapsed across the deck, trembling, barely conscious. They pressed shirts against my wound, yelling, "Stay awake. Don't close your eyes." But beneath us, I felt it still. The shadow, circling, waiting, furious, and I knew. This wasn't over. The kayak rocked under me, every wave threatening to throw us back into the blood-soaked water. I could hear the men's breaths, short, frantic, uneven as they paddled harder than they ever had in their lives. Their knuckles were white against the paddles, veins bulging, eyes darting from me to the water beneath us. Searching for the shadow they knew was still there, and I felt it too, the presence. Heavy, patient. Circling the water vibrated under the boat, a rhythm that didn't belong to the sea itself, but to the predator beneath. My body shivered, not from cold, but from knowing it wasn't over, not even close. I tried to lift my head, tried to focus on the shoreline. Shapes moved, their people running, arms waving, voices carrying faintly. My vision blurred, doubling, fading in and out. But one shape was clear, her, my wife. She was screaming though I couldn't hear the words, only the raw edge of fear in her voice. Beside her, in someone's arms, our boy squirmed, confused, frightened, his small hands reaching toward the water. My chest tightened. The pain in my leg was fire, pulsing with every heartbeat, but what hurt more was that look on their faces. Desperation, terror. A family about to watch me vanish. The kayak jolted suddenly. One of the men cursed, eyes widening as the nose of the boat lifted slightly, as though something massive had nudged it from below. My stomach dropped. The shadow surged, brushing hard against the hull, rocking us side to side. I could almost feel its skin through the thin layer of fiberglass rough. Sandpaper, alive. The men screamed at me to stay awake. Their voices cracked, panic bleeding through courage. One tore off his own shirt, pressing it harder into my wound, while the other paddled like a man possessed. The boat scraped shallow sand, the roar of waves shifting, closer, louder. The beach was there, just ahead. But so was the shark. The water beside us erupted. A dark fin sliced the surface, cutting a path parallel to the kayak. Gasps rose from the beach, shouts carried on the wind. The men paddled harder, sweat mixing with salt spray, but the shark paced us easily, gliding with terrifying calm. It didn't need to rush. It knew I was bleeding. It knew time was on its side. Then, without warning, it turned, a sudden, sharp angle, directly at us. The kayak lurched as the beast slammed its side, a thundering crack of impact. I nearly rolled off, my body sliding toward the edge. One man grabbed me, his grip iron, hauling me back just as the other drove his paddle down, striking the water, striking the shark. The shadow twisted away, circling again. My breaths came shallow, ragged. My vision pulsed black at the edges. I could feel myself slipping, the world tilting. But voices from shore pulled me back. Dozens now, maybe more, all screaming, all reaching with their eyes. My wife's voice louder than all of them. The kayak scraped sand again, this time deeper. Hands splashed into the water, grabbing the hull, dragging us in. Then arms reached for me, dozens of them, lifting me from the boat, hauling me onto the beach. The sand was hot under my skin, coarse against my back. The first solid ground I'd felt since the nightmare began. Faces surrounded me, pale, horrified, frantic. Some pressed down on my wound with towels, others shouted for help. My wife pushed through, falling to her knees beside me, her hands trembling as they cupped my face. Tears streamed, her lips moved, but I barely heard her words. Just the sound, the rhythm, the desperate plea. Stay, please, stay. Then sirens, loud near. The paramedics stormed in, equipment rattling. They tore away the makeshift bandages, voices sharp, professional, urgent. Numbers shouted, blood pressure dropping, pulse weak, tourniquet applied. The world spun faster, brighter, then darker again. I tried to speak, but my tongue felt heavy, my throat dry. All that escaped was a rasp. My wife leaned close, her forehead pressing to mine. "Don't leave me," she whispered. "Don't leave us." Those words tethered me, anchored me. When the darkness came again, heavy and suffocating, I clung to them. The stretcher swallowed me. The ambulance doors slammed shut. Sirens screamed louder. The world shrank to flashing lights, sharp voices, and her hand gripping mine until they forced her back. I floated in and out. Sometimes I heard numbers pulse, blood pressure, time lost. Sometimes only silence, broken by the pounding of my own weak heartbeat. And then the hospital lights, blinding, white cold. Faces leaned over me, masked eyes sharp, hands moving fast, blades cut, tools clattered, voices barked commands. My body was nothing but a battlefield now, my leg torn, my veins leaking, my heart stumbling. They fought to hold me together. I wanted to scream, to thrash, to fight, but I couldn't move. I was weight, I was breath, I was almost nothing, then nothing at all. I woke to silence, not the ocean's silence. A different kind. Machine beeps, steady and rhythmic, the hiss of oxygen, the faint shuffle of shoes on polished floors. My body heavy, wrapped, stitched, bound. My leg felt like stone and fire at once. And then her hand, warm, trembling, fingers wrapped around mine. I turned my head slowly, every muscle resisting, and saw her face. Red eyes, tear-streaked cheeks. A smile fighting through the fear. "You made it," she whispered. I wanted to answer, but my throat was raw, dry, broken. All I managed was the faintest nod, but her smile widened anyway, as though that nod was a promise. But surviving the surgery wasn't the end. It was just another beginning. The nightmares came first. Every time I closed my eyes, I was back there. The shadow circling, the jaws snapping shut, the red water, my chest heaving, lungs screaming, the taste of salt and blood thick in my mouth. I woke gasping, drenched in sweat, machines beeping wildly, nurses rushing in, my wife clutching my hand, whispering that I was safe. But it didn't feel safe, not inside my mind. Then came the therapy. Weeks later, when the wounds closed enough, they forced me to stand. My body trembled. My leg, what was left of it, burned, ached, screamed. I stumbled. I fell. Again and again. Each time humiliation burned hotter than pain. But I kept getting up, kept pushing. Because walking again wasn't just about me. It was about them. About my son seeing his father stand. About my wife not carrying the weight alone. Every small step was defiance. Every stumble forward screamed back at the shark. "You didn't take me." But it was never easy. The pain carved itself into me. Nights were worse, dark rooms. Faint shadows on the wall reminding me of fins cutting the surface, of shapes circling unseen. I would wake, heart racing, drenched in sweat, my body ready to fight something that wasn't there. My wife held me each time, whispering, reminding me that the fight was over. But deep down, I knew. The fight never really ends. The doctors told me I should be grateful. They told me most people don't make it out of a bull shark's jaws at all. That the blood loss alone should have ended me before the kayak even reached the shallows. They said 12 minutes is rarely enough. But somehow, for me it was. Their words were meant to comfort, but all I felt was weight, a crushing, invisible weight that pressed harder each time I looked at the scars. The mirror became my enemy. The bandages came off slowly, layer by layer, until I saw what was left. Torn flesh stitched into a patchwork, deep grooves carved where teeth had ripped muscle apart. My thigh didn't look like mine anymore. It looked like something that had survived a war, but barely. I stared, breath caught, stomach tight, fighting the urge to turn away. And yet I couldn't, because turning away meant denial, and denial meant weakness. I tried to stand, tried to trust my body again, but the leg trembled, refused, buckled under me. Pain screamed, sharp and deep. I crashed back onto the bed, sweat pouring, chest heaving. The therapist's voice was calm. Practice, you'll walk again. It takes time, patience, strength. But in my head, I wasn't thinking about time. I was thinking about the ocean, about the way it felt when the shark circled, when it pressed its rough skin against my wound, when its jaws locked again. Every step on dry land felt like I was still in the water, still fighting, still bleeding. Nights were worse. Darkness pulled me back. I would hear it again, the snap of jaws, the rush of water, the muffled scream in my throat. My chest would tighten, my hands clench, sweat soaking the sheets. My wife would hold me, whispering over and over, "You're here, you're safe, it's over." But her words couldn't reach the part of me that still floated in that red water. I looked at my son sometimes and wondered what he would remember. Would he remember the man who almost didn't come back? Would he carry the fear of that morning in his little heart forever? Or would he grow knowing that his father fought, that his father refused to let go? Those thoughts carved me deeper than teeth ever could. Therapy stretched on, days into weeks, weeks into months. Each movement a battle, each step a war. The therapist pushed me harder, stand longer, walk farther, hold steady. My body screamed, but my mind screamed louder. Don't give the shark the last word. Every stumble was followed by another attempt. Every failure fueled the next try, and slowly, painfully, the leg obeyed again, weak, scarred. But mine. Yet survival isn't just physical. It's mental. It's emotional. It's spiritual. And mine was fractured. I avoided the sea. Couldn't even look at it. The sound of waves made my chest tighten, my throat close. Driving past the shore made me sweat, made me want to turn away. But one evening, months later, my wife held my hand and said, "You need to face it. Not for them, not for me, for you." So I went. The beach looked the same curve of sand, the same horizon stretched endless and calm. But to me it wasn't calm. It was memory. It was threat. It was the place where 12 minutes nearly became eternity. I stood there, toes pressing into wet sand, the water licking at my scars. My body shook, every nerve screaming, "Stay back." But I stayed. I let the waves roll over my feet, let the salt sting my skin, let the sound crash into me. And for the first time, I realized I had survived. Not just the attack, not just the blood loss, I had survived the memory. I closed my eyes, and I saw his face again, my boy on the beach, his small hand reaching toward the waves, his cry cutting through the air. And I whispered a promise. I'm still here. I will always be here. But scars never leave. They remind you. They whisper at night. They echo in silence. They keep you awake, keep you honest, keep you humble. And so I tell this story, not because it's easy, not because I enjoy reliving it, but because survival means sharing. It means reminding you that life is fragile, that death swims closer than we think, unseen, waiting. And it means showing you that sometimes 12 minutes is all you get. Sometimes 12 minutes is enough. And now I ask you if you would have fought too. If you would have clenched your fists, if you would have refused to let the ocean take you. A type survive in the comments. Share this story so no one forgets how close the line between life and death really is. And don't miss the next one. Because tomorrow, another voice rises, another nightmare surfaces, another survivor whispers from the edge.